Top level fighters are afraid of Devin Haney, Devin the Dream Haney. I know that people don't want to admit it for some reason. Maybe it's because Devin had a dad in his life, or maybe it's because he has a kind of a vanilla personality. Maybe because he's not repping no street shit. I don't know. But we can look at the track record and we can see that top level fighters, not only are they afraid, see, that's the thing. I'm not going to say they're afraid. I take that back. Top level fighters who talk shit like they will beat Devin Haney, they respect Devin Haney and the threat that he brings to the ring. So let's start with Shakur and Boots Ennis. Shakur was asked about fighting Haney. Mind you, Shakur and Boots, neither one of those fighters have legacy fights. Neither one have legacy fights on their resume. Devin Haney is the legacy. He's the legacy fight for all of these dudes. Ryan Garcia got the legacy fight with him, but we know Ryan was on the stuff, so we had to erase that. But Shakur said when asked, he stated, he will not fight at 147. That's what he said. I will never fight at 147. Then Conor Ben comes around, has a sloppy fight with Chris Eubank Jr., and Shakur said, oh, yeah, I'll fight Conor Ben. Conor Ben fighting at 154. Even if Conor Ben goes to 147, Shakur said, no problem, we can fight. I'll fight you next. But when asked about Haney, Shakur said, I will not fight at 147. In other words, his respect for what Haney can do in the ring is on a whole other level than his respect for somebody like a Conor Ben. That's number one. Now, we all know that Haney already sent Shakur a contract. See, stuff's starting to look a little fuzzy now. Haney sent Shakur a contract, correct? And Shakur wanted more money, which is understandable. But at the end of the day, at 135, Haney reached out to Shakur. Like, they really reached out to that man and sent him an offer for 20 or 25%. Shakur could have already fought Haney. When asked to fight him again at 47, Shakur said, I would never fight at 47. But he'll fight Conor Ben at 47 or 54. So that just shows you the respect for Devin's skill level. And I'm gonna get on the skill level later. I'm going to explain why it's like that. Now, Boots Ennis recently ducked Devin Haney. And we have to call it a duck. Because Boots, much like Shakur, when there was a different man in front of him, he was willing. When Boots had B. Norm the Storm or Brian Norman or Brian Horman, whatever, he offered that man $2.2 million. And B. Norm the Storm said no. He said hell no. And Brian Norman is another one that respects Haney. And I'm going to break that down as well. But let's continue. And not only does Brian Norman respect Haney, but I'm going to explain in this video why Haney is going to beat Brian Norman. There's two reasons why I believe Haney is going to beat Brian Norman. But let's get back to Mr. Boots Ennis. He offered Brian Norman $2.2 million. Boots Ennis already dropped Brian Norman in sparring. We know that. We know that from the other brother out there in Philly. I forgot his name. But we know that Boots is head and shoulders above Brian Norman. And he felt comfortable. Even though Boots was draining himself at 147, he felt comfortable draining himself yet again to fight Brian Norman. But he didn't feel comfortable draining himself to fight Devin Haney. Because Devin Haney's skill set, what he brings into the ring, is totally different from a Brian Norman. And Boots knew that he needed that energy to be able to do what? To be able to chase Devin Haney. So that's Shakur putting respect on Devin's name. That's Boots putting respect on Devin's name. It doesn't matter what the fans say, pillow hands, this and that. Obviously, the fans aren't the ones who has to get in the ring. So the fans can say whatever. They're not fighting. You can't really trust their opinion. They know they don't have to see Devin Haney. But Shakur and Boots understand, okay, Devin is a real level threat, a high level threat. And I need things to be in a certain manner. I can't just jump in there with that man. That's respect. Some may call it fear. I think it's more so respect because Shakur doesn't come off as a fearful type to me. And by the way, Devin Haney and Shakur is a bigger legacy fight than Shakur and Tank because Devin is actually willing to fight people. Devin went after Boots. Devin went after Ryan. Devin went after Brian Norman. Devin went after Shakur. He's the one sending the contracts. He's the one who's promoting himself. So that's the real legacy fight, because that's the fight that has the highest potential to actually happen. We don't know what's really going on with Tank. Personally, I don't believe that he's out here doing the crimes that they're saying he's doing.